My name is Antonio Graceffo. I'm the author of The Monk from Brooklyn, and I'm the host of the web TV show Martial Arts Odyssey. But today what I'm here to talk about is linguistics. We're going to talk about ALG. ALG is automatic language growth theory, and this is a linguistic acquisition theory, second language acquisition theory, invented by Dr. J. Marvin Brown of the United States. And by the way, I wanted to say thank you to you guys for coming out on a Saturday morning to my seminar. And I don't know what college is like today, but back when I was in college, I could think of a lot of better things to do at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning. So has that changed? Or?
No, we can still think of a lot.
Still think of better things. I really appreciate it. You know, when I was in college, cars were still made of iron. The U.S. used to make products. Anyway, thank you so much for coming out. ALG has to do with second language acquisition. Basic premise of ALG is that we learn by listening and not by talking. So if we think about this, it makes a lot of sense. Jeremy, I want you to tell me something about your life, your background, or where you're from. No, tell me something about your life, your background, and where you're from. Yes?
I'm from
Okay, did anybody learn anything about Jeremy? No, when we're talking, we can't learn anything, can we? We need to listen. Okay, so that's the basic idea of ALG. ALG is an extension of other linguistic theories that came earlier. One is called natural way and one is called silent way. And basically all these theories do one thing. They look at babies and they say, how do babies learn their mother tongue? Now you guys, the foreigners, or in other words the Westerners in this room right now, you guys are in a unique situation. You're doing an MBA, but you're in Taiwan. And I know you've all made some attempt to learn Chinese. True or false?
True.
Okay.
Some attempt, yes.
And you found Chinese very, very easy.
Simple.
And now you're like perfect at it, right? Okay. So Chinese is really hard, right? Okay. Now I'm going to ask our Chinese colleagues. When you were 5 years old, could you speak Chinese?
5 years old?
Yeah. Wow, you are so smart. 5 years old, she could speak Chinese.
And what else can I say?
You can speak Chinese at 5. He's like 50 and he can't speak Chinese. So you're much smarter than him. Do you ever have that feeling like when you're just walking around Tainan and you'll see like a little Chinese kid speaking Chinese? Does it like for a second you go, man, he must be really smart. He can speak Chinese and I can't. Okay, so what do you think? Is it really true? If your mother tongue is Chinese, or your mother tongue is Korean, or your mother tongue is English, which are all very difficult languages, and you can speak it, does that mean you're smart? No. No, because for all of us, learning our mother tongue is easy, right? Do you know any Taiwanese people that were born here, they live here their whole life, but they can't speak?
No.
No. All right, so we all can speak our mother tongue. All right. So why? Why can the Chinese baby learn Chinese and the American baby learns English, but why can we as adults not learn a foreign language? Why do we find it difficult? Okay, now this is what I want to ask. Now we all have some mutual friends here that have children. When children are 0 to 2 years old, how much talking are they doing? Zero. Almost zero, right? It's almost zero, right? They start talking at 18 months, 2 years, 2 years and 6 months, whatever it is. All right, so all they're doing is listening to Chinese, or listening to English. And then when they start talking, has it ever happened that a baby born in Montreal, raised by French-Canadian parents, when he starts speaking, he has a Chinese accent?
It'd be quite rare.
It's quite rare. Yeah, okay, why? Because he's listening, and he has a perfect model, and he's listening all the time. Okay, now, for the foreigners in the room, most of you to pay for your studies, you're working part-time as English teachers. When you're teaching at your bushy bond, and you have a new student come the first day, at what point do you require him to say stuff? The first day?
It depends on his level, but if he has zero English, probably on at the end of the first day or on the second.
Okay, the end of it, so he gets this like reprieve of like 40 minutes. Okay, so ALG theory says, look, babies listen for 2 years before they start speaking, and so that's what we need to do as adults. And ALG says that That 2 years, there's about 6 or 8 months of that where a baby's just figuring out what language is and how language works at all, okay? And we already know that because we already have a native tongue. So we can eliminate maybe 6 or 8 months, but you still need to listen for about 12 to 14 months before you even start talking. So ALG says that the main problem with most other language learning methods is they're making you talk right away. Okay, so you've got an improper model and you start talking and then you have a bad accent. Now, let me ask you, if you're teaching English, do you teach students that have been studying for 5 or 6 years already? Grade 6, grade 7, grade 8? Do they make mistakes in English?
Yes.
Do you think that their previous foreign teachers talked wrong?
Probably not.
Do you think the previous foreign teacher went on the board and said, okay, always when it's plural, don't use S. You know, third person, don't use S. When you're talking about yesterday, don't use past tense, please, or I'll take stars away. Okay, so basically they've been taught properly and yet they continue to do it wrong. On a long enough timeline, do you think they're ever going to work out those kinks?
I hope so.
You hope so.
Otherwise my job's meaningless.
And your job is meaningless.
Yeah, probably.
They're never going to get over it. They're never going to get over it. They're never going to get over it because they were taught wrong to begin with, and then what did they do by speaking again and again? Practicing. Yeah, does practice make perfect? No. Practice makes permanent.
Oh.
Right? If we do it wrong 100 times, we'll be really good at doing it wrong. Okay, so that's what ALG says. So in the ALG classroom in Thailand, what we do is we come in, we sit, and this is at AUA Bangkok in Thailand. We come in and we sit. And the teachers are up here at the board, and they're telling stories. Some of them are very creative. They act out soap operas or movies, and we sit and we listen for like 800 hours. And every hour that becomes class, they mark it off next to your name. And at any point you go into the office, how many hours have I listened? I'm like, oh, you've listened for 50 hours, you're a good student. And they just mark off how many hours you've listened until we reach like 800. And then if we feel ready, then we move to a class where we're going to start speaking a little bit. And you just listen, listen, listen. Now let's talk about Chinese. What's the hardest part about learning Chinese?
I say tones.
Tones? What do you say?
For me, it's the writing part that gets to me, but the tones are
okay.
Also very tricky.
Yeah, if we talk about just the speaking, the problem is tones by far, right? Okay, so Chinese native speakers, if I say jiao, what does jiao mean in Chinese?
Yeah.
Oh, is it right? You're from Taiwan? So you know, Thai is a really hard language. In some ways, it's actually harder than Chinese. There's more grammar than Chinese and more tones. And so if we don't listen, we can say things wrong. So you're a Chinese native speaker, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I say jiao, what does jiao mean?
Yeah.
Morning? It could be 睡觉, jiao, su, 叫, like yell, or
Yell.
like
Call.
yeah.
Call, leg,
Oh, yeah.
pepper,
水饺
wrestling, sleeping, 摔跤, right?
Yeah.
So what's the difference between them?
The tone make it different, and then like we have like similar
Character.
character with the same tone.
Okay, so the tone, so if I don't have the tone and I just walk around and I speak with no tones, I walk into the shop, I want to buy dumpling,
Okay.
and I say to the man, would you please wrestle with me? 我想要摔跤.
What about the other thing?
Yeah, or we can sleep together. Okay, so how can we get around that? Now most classes where you're going to learn to speak Chinese, the teacher comes in and goes, okay, this tone, this tone, this tone, practice it 100 times, you know, okay, go. And, okay, do you remember that? Can you keep that straight in your head? Impossible.